Hi, I'm John Baker, the creator of the Asking Formula. I want to explore 4 assumptions we commonly make when we engage in a sales call. These 4 assumptions often cause our audience to say no to us. And I want to explore how the Asking Formula can correct for each of these wrong assumptions. So let's get started. Assumption number 1. As a past sales leader, I heard this assumption all of the time. Prospects will buy only if we have the lowest price. Hey, this may be true. And if it is, and assuming I don't offer the lowest price, then basically the prospect has given us their answer, which, on the bright side, frees me up to pursue other opportunities. We aren't the low price provider, and that is truly what they are looking for, and we have come to that conclusion honestly and earnestly. Well, so be it. But most of the time, prospects don't buy on low price. They buy on perceived value. And the function of the Asking Formula is to make sure the prospect moves through their skepticisms and their misconceptions, and maybe even their vulnerabilities and defensiveness, to define the value they place on what you are offering. I have found that price is a remarkably indeterminate concept. It is a grave assumption indeed to assume the prospect, or for that matter, his or her contemporaries, can accurately and consistently define what price is. In step 4 of the Asking Formula, developing best reasons, I always ask my prospects who have price concerns the following. How do you define price? How do you define value? And how do you decide on price versus value? And who else in your organization looks at price and value in this way? This opens the conversation and gets at whether low price is really a best reason. Assumption number 2, no money. Hey, being broke is relative, and saying you don't have the budget to make a decision often is a convenient smokescreen. I once heard a professional athlete claim he was broke because he could no longer afford to fly private jets and had to make do with flying first class on commercial airlines. Sound reasonable? Well, not really, but many people, including your prospects, can be equally unreasonable when it comes to budget. Let's keep it simple. When a decision maker states they have no money, often it is a function of them misunderstanding 2 things: consequence and delay. If the consequence of saying yes means I generate more value than the cost I pay, then there really is no budget issue. Similarly, if the cost in the delay in making a decision is greater than a cost I pay you, then there really isn't a budget issue. In the Asking Formula, you help your prospect come to grips with the costs of both consequence and delay. Assumption number 3, the prospect has to like me. Prospects don't have to like you. They have to respect you. Same for your clients. The number 1 constraint we have, prospect clients, you, me, is time. And no one wants to waste it. Often the jocularity and the friendliness we bring to our prospect and client relationships is seen as a time waster by our prospects and clients. The Asking Formula keeps the focus on your audience, and it expedites the decision-making process. It's great to be liked, but it's more fruitful to be effective. And finally, assumption number 4. The prospect knows what they want. One of the biggest values a salesperson provides their prospect, and for that matter, their clients, is the value of clarity. The Asking Formula is indispensable in this regard. The simplicity of the Asking Formula allows you and your prospect to jointly move through a decision-making process dynamically. I often say the job of a sales professional isn't to sell anything. The job of a sales professional is to end each step of the decision-making process by asking for the next step of the decision-making process. Each step naturally leads to another until the right decision is made. If the prospect knows exactly what he or she wants, hey, that's great news. But often they don't and are looking for the sales professional to help them own the process of the decision and not have the decision process own them. I'm John Baker. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think. you.